All right, I'm back. Now, the purpose of this video and these type of videos is kind of just to show you what's actually going on from a more historical context, because I think a lot of people just don't even understand like their place in history, and especially the way that the education system takes out a lot of important facts out of history. And so a lot of people don't understand how the political system works, why it works the way that it works. And I'm just trying to add some context so you can understand what's actually going on and why, when you're voting for things and trying to get things changed in your community, it's not changing, and why certain things keep on happening, even though you don't want them to happen, you're voting against them. You specifically voted for politicians that said they weren't going to do one thing, and now they're doing it like 50 times in a row and right in front of your face. So this is going to explain a little bit, give a little bit more context as to why that's happening, I think. Okay, so the first thing we have to do is identify the fact that the United States Constitution is not really this unique thing. And in fact, here we can see that the Constitution of the Freemasons was actually created in 1734. So about 30 years before the United States Constitution, right? And I mean, I put the link to this below. You can see it's like a real thing. It's a real historical document, right? I mean, look at that. Beazel and all that stuff. Talking about Moses, right? So this is what was going on back then, right? So we can see that of 56 signers of the Declaration of Independence, at least 13 were known Freemasons, as well as many were influenced by Freemasonic ideas, including who? Including Benjamin Franklin, including John Hancock, right? They're saying Livingston possibly, but they don't know. But it seems like it, right? And then, John Adams and Samuel Adams were both Freemasons, right? See, Jefferson was a Freemason, John Adams, Benjamin Rush. Who else? See, a lot of Freemasons involved in the Revolution and the signing of the Declaration of Independence and creating the Constitution. This is a historical fact that cannot be denied. It's a historical fact, right? And they come from a school where they already have a separate constitution for their secret society, right? Because this is how it was supposed to work, not the net taxpayer system. The net taxpayer system is a joke for idiots. This is how it actually works. These are the people that are franchised in the society. The people that are living by the real Constitution, the Constitution of the free builders. See, that's what Freemasons means. It means a free builder. And they live by this Constitution, which is a completely separate Constitution that was written before the Constitution of the United States of America. And they live by this Constitution. This Constitution, for Freemasons, this Constitution supersedes the Constitution of the United States, right? It supersedes it to them, right? So then we can just look at the structure of Freemasonry, and what's like one of the first things that we find out is that there are red and blue lodges, red and blue, right? Just like the political system. There's the red party and the blue party, right? Most Masonic lodges are blue parties, kind of like the popular vote, right? Most people are Democrats, right? There are only a select few red lodges, but the Scottish Rite is a higher level degree than the York Rite, slightly, because only the Scottish Rite has the honorary 33rd degree, right? And you might think this sounds stupid, but this is the actual philosophy of the people that created the country, live by their own separate constitution that supersedes the United States Constitution and was created about 30 years before the United States Constitution, right? And they live in a system of red and blue lodges where most people are in the blue lodge and only a few select people are in the red lodge, right? And now you can see here, they have a military-like hierarchy structure. Notice it's either, the person is either a priest, and then this guy's got a sword, right? This guy one of these guys on this side has a sword. And then on this side, this guy's got a sword, and this guy's got a hammer, right? Because this is the Scottish Rite. Then you can see here behind the Temple of Solomon, right? You got the Temple of Solomon in the back on the left, right? And then there's several like Freemasonic things that just happen to look like a Star of David. I'm not saying it is a Star of David, but it just happens to look like it's the exact same shape as a Star of David on a blue background, right? And then the Temple of Solomon is back here, and they're on top of a pyramid with a Roman arch in it, right? Okay. This is all made up, right? It's all made up, though. You're cuckoo. Woo. Oh, you're crazy, man. It's all made up, right? It's all made up. There's no Freemasons anymore, right? This doesn't exist. Okay. Yeah. Okay. You keep believing that. Right. I don't want to do that, though. So you can see here again, you got the York Rite, Scottish Rite, honorary 33rd degree. Most people never make it out of the 3rd degree. The majority of people never make it out of the 3rd degree. So if they're trying to tell you they know something about Freemasonry, they probably don't, because they are just in the 3rd degree. And then the Order of Eastern Stars is for women. It's a separate organization, but it's for women. Okay. So we can see here in the hierarchy of Freemasonry, one of the lower level, lower rank groups is called the Order of de Molay, right? So then it's like, okay, so who's Jacques de Molay? I've never heard of that, because you never heard of it, right? Okay. Jacques de Molay was the 23rd and last Grand Master of the Knights Templar. The Knights Templar, the guys that were doing the Crusades, against the Muslims. Read your history ever? Leading the order sometime before 420 on 1292 until it was dissolved by the Pope. Right? Now, the reason why it was dissolved was because in the Holy Land, during the waning days of the Crusades, as European support for the Crusades diminished, the French monarchy sought to disband the order and claim the wealth of the Templars as its own. King Philip IV of France, deeply in debt to the Templars, had Molay and many other French Templars arrested in 1307 and tortured into making false confessions. When Molay later retracted his confessions. Philip had him burned on a scaffold, right? Now, the reason why the king did that is because the king owed them a bunch of money, and he didn't want to pay the money back. He was in a battle at Rhodes, Rhodes. Oh, come on. Right? And then people are like, this is fake. What does this have to do with anything going on now? What does this have to do with anything going on now? Red and blue lodges. That's what it has to do with what's going on right now. Red and blue lodges. Who do you vote for? Red or blue? Red or blue? Which pill do you take? Red or blue? Red or blue? Are you red or blue? Red or blue, purple like breads? No, but seriously, like you're just making this up, man. This doesn't exist. No, this exists today, right now. And they live by this, right? They live by this Constitution, not the American Constitution, right? But you never heard of it. You never heard of it, right? So, again, there's no possible way that you can actually deny that Freemasonic philosophy was highly influential in the creation of the United States government that we are under right now. This is the Constitution of the Freemasons that was written in 1734, about 30 years before the Constitution of America, and this supersedes the U.S. Constitution for Freemasons. Freemasons have red and blue lodges. Freemasons also vote in ballots, right? Secret ballots. Ever heard of that before? Red and blue, voting in secret ballots. We got to go to war with the Muslims. Right? Okay. So, you're just going to have to pretend like this video doesn't exist because it's just way too factual for your brain to handle. And it's just going to upset you that this is actually true. That there's over 2 million people in the United States that live by a separate constitution that was written 34 years before our Constitution. They have their own military hierarchy. They're affiliated with the Knights Templar of Europe that was on the Crusades. They're like a direct continuation of the Knights Templar. As you can see by the fact that these guys are wearing the same clothes right here. Guy on the left, third one up on the left, right? Temple of Solomon in the back on the left. Odd looking star pattern thing as their main logo, 6-pointed star pattern as their main logo, and the Temple of Solomon. Just a coincidence. Just a coincidence. Right? Just a coincidence. Temple of Solomon. 6-pointed star with a blue background. Red and blue lodges. Secret ballots. And a constitution. All right. I think I'm done. You can just pretend like this video doesn't exist. Have a good day and peace.